And welcome back to Daily Wrap. I'm Joe Concha along with Rick Unger, Heather Hansen, and joining us for the rest of the show will be Mr. Bill Tucker of Forbes.com, and the only guy to win an Emmy on this panel, I understand.
That's true.
Wow, good for you.
Well, thank you very much.
I won a soap Emmy once, but that was for being a
daytime Emmys count.
stunt double for Bo in a Bo and Hope scene one time on Days of Our Lives.
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
A little beard?
Mm-hmm.
I never cared about the Emmys, only the checks.
Ah, well said.
Plenty of those, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going to go back to talking about Baltimore a little bit, Bill, because obviously I want to get your thoughts on what you're seeing, what's going on. It's complete lawlessness now from what we're witnessing, and it's just amazing that this isn't Ferguson, okay? This is a major American city, an NFL city as it's called, and the Ravens and the Orioles, and it's 40 minutes from the nation's capital, and it's it's got the Inner Harbor, and it's unbelievable that this is going on there. It's almost like I'm watching the LA riots all over again.
It sanctioned lawlessness too. And Bernie was very careful when he was on to say he doesn't know what's going on, and he's right. We don't know fully what's going on, but like Heather said, when the mayor comes out and says, "Oh, we're going to step out of the way here. We're not going to do anything. You got a place to destroy." That's insane. I have never heard a political leader use that kind of language in my entire life.
You're right. It was a stupid. We'll all agree on that. That's a given. But you know what I worry about, what's important right now is to get this under control, get the police officers safe. And if we do the usual thing, which is to sit here and go, oh, isn't she a dummy? I can't believe she didn't cause it. She said something incredibly stupid, and we move on.
Yeah,
so let's not get hung up.
I don't think she. I'm sorry. I don't think she caused it.
But
I'm not.
This is what you're going to hear on
You have to be
networks
careful.
right
You have to be careful with your language. Is all I'm saying.
Shigoo.
When you say that.
But see, I think it's more than that. I think there are some people who say, well, how dare these police do this? And then you expect them to keep doing it despite the fact that they're putting their lives in danger. We know there's a credible threat right now from the gangs in that area who have said they are targeting white cops. And yet we just keep asking them to go out there and do this.
I just want us to be better. I want us to be better and not every day do what everybody else is going to do and say, yeah, the mayor did that because she said she did say a dumb thing. I suspect right now she's feeling how dumb that was more than any of us, right? So what's important there is that they move on. I thought what Bernie said was absolutely right. We were talking during the break. The National Guard should have already been called up. Whether or not you send them in or not is a strategic decision that's not for me to make. But you should have had them called up the minute you got this hint.
And here's why, Rick, and you brought it up during the break, is that war has been declared. Right. And that the Bloods and the Crips have said, okay, we're going to get involved here. And that's not just rocks that we've been seeing anymore. This could result in gunfire. This could get very bad.
This is not a peaceful protest.
Well, no. And you look at this video that we're looking at now. You look at kids and people overrunning burnt, destroyed police cars, taking pictures of themselves like they're some kind of trophies. Things are bad.
It looks like a war. It looks like a war. And people from other countries are looking at this and wondering what the heck is wrong with us. And it is time to get it together.
I like Joe's point. That people need to be reminded that this isn't Ferguson. This is indeed a major American city. This is Detroit.
Right.
Right?
But I think the argument is there that this can happen anywhere. We have a problem right now. We have a major problem, and there's blame on both sides, and there's enough of that, and it's time to come together. This is a complete slap in the face to the family that put to rest their son today and asked for peace. And instead, this is what's going on. And it's people who have no interest in peaceful protest.
And that just goes to show you that this is not about him. This is not about the poor man who was killed. Because if it was, they would have respected the family's request, as Heather just pointed out, that they didn't want this today. They specifically said, let's honor this poor man who was killed. Yes. But they aren't.
But Joe, you said something, because I've spent some time in Baltimore as well, and in a lot of ways Baltimore was kind of a festering sore because the unemployment rate is so high, because there are neighborhoods that are just in such desperate shape that you need an excuse. And I don't want to diminish this poor man's death to an excuse, but it's like the match that lit it all.
Yeah, when 1/4 of your population, remember, Baltimore's unemployment rate is 25%. And Baltimore, when I first started going down to that area, was 1990. All right, and Baltimore was still not the nicest city in the world. And by the time I left, around 94, it was the whole Inner Harbor was completely rebuilt. All about Camden Yards. Camden Yards was built, and once that's where the Orioles play, for people who aren't from Baltimore. And once that was built, then that whole area became very, very nice. And it almost put, like, that's what you saw all the time. You say, Baltimore isn't that bad right now. But that other part that I was describing before that you see on the train when you go right through, just... Not just like, there's some abandoned buildings, like the windows, everything's burned out, and you don't see people, and it's two cities. It really, like we always heard of the tale of two cities with New York. That's what Baltimore is right now. There's a very nice Inner Harbor part where a great place to party, and then you got what we're seeing here, this other part of the city where, I'm not making excuses, like people are left behind, but right now, honestly, they're not thinking, boy, I got to go to work tomorrow, or if I get arrested, it's almost like, who cares?
Well, right, and the whole problem has been going on for a long time. These threats against the police, this isn't the first time. It started in January. There were credible threats against the police and targeting white police. I mean, this is something that has been festering, as Bill said, for a long time. And now it has, clearly something has got to get together within the next hour or so as night falls.
Yeah.
And we are going to have major, major problems.
So how do you solve it?
Well, I mean, here's what I keep coming back to, and Bernie brought it up first, and he was right. You've got a new governor of this state, sworn in January, a Republican governor, a black Republican governor. Where is he?
We're going to see him very soon.
I mean, I could understand if he hung back after what happened on Saturday, first time. Let the mayor try and handle it. Well, obviously, it did not get handled. Here we are, and I don't think anybody sitting here thinks this is going to wrap up today.
No.
This is just getting
So
started.
it has to be a massive show of force, right?
Where is the governor?
I agree.
If not a massive show of force, at least a massive show of leadership. And this is my passionate issue in this country today, whether we're talking about Republicans or Democrats. We seem to be leadership lacking. And at this point, when you have a Democratic mayor and a Republican governor, both of them black, one female, one male, you say this is a perfect opportunity, you would think, Rick,
agree with you.
to come out and say and stand together.
I agree with
And,
you.
and
We're not going to go for this.
But everyone's so afraid of the optics. They're so afraid of the military, police, and the optics we're seeing right now is a community that's taking control with no police anywhere to be found.
Yeah, I don't
but
think
the
those are
alternative
optics to have to worry
You
about.
need numbers and go block by block. And the only way you do that is with I don't know, but I played enough risk in games where show of force. Right, and I'm joking about the risk part. This ends up on YouTube somehow. But what I mean is just you have state police and National Guard, and that could forget the optics. It could quell the situation.
Well, that's what's got to happen.
Yep, we got to go. Anyway, coming up next, Clinton cash is still causing problems for the Clintons, but one conservative CEO is not buying it. We'll tell you who it is next on Newsmax.